Welcome to the Employment Wednesday podcast with Yvonne Shabangu. Have you heard of the scripture Hosea 4, verse 6? My people perish because of the lack of knowledge. The same applies to your career. When you don't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, you are likely to make wrong career choices. But worry not. Employment Wednesdays is here for you to offer you all the answers relating to your career and offer you strategies to develop your career. Enjoy. Hi, everyone. You are welcome to another episode of Employment Wednesdays. And today we've got a guest, and her name is Margaret Botman. And we're going to be discussing requirements and everything relating to exploring a career in teaching or becoming an educator. Like, she has a fancy touch to it. She says, I'm an education professional. So, yeah, we've got Margaret. Margaret is an education professional and avid artist, sorry guys, she's an education professional, an avid arts enthusiast. Originally from Limpopo, she moved to Johannesburg to pursue her studies. She completed her bachelor's degree in teaching at the University of Witwatersrand and furthered her honors at the University of Pretoria. She has been in various commercials with brands such as Easy Waves, Mr. D Delivery, and Samsung. And she has been selected as one of the presenters of the Trace educational mobile app, which is Trace Academia, and has been recently selected as one of the Teacher CAN. Am I saying it right? Is it CAN?
Yes, Teachers Can.
Or Teachers Can Fellow and Literacy Foundation. Ipayo yako. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely love it. Do you want to give us a brief description of who you are before we go into the icebreakers? Oh yes, she's a mom and a wife. Yes.
Yes. I think you've pretty much covered all of it. But yeah, that's who I am. I think one of the things that I've been intentional about with my career is building a career portfolio.
Okay.
So tapping into all my interests. And I think now moving into my 30s, I'm starting to refine and sort of focus on one area.
Okay. All right. I absolutely love that. I love how you went into art. Like, I feel like we all love arts and stuff, but we're really
Yeah.
always afraid to pursue it because we have this notion that there isn't money or there isn't like solid careers there. But yeah, guess we're going to go into that depth as we carry out our conversation. We're going to start with icebreaker questions.
Okay.
Yes. So, what is the least amount of salary you've ever received in your life where you're like, what is this? And what were you doing?
Gee, I want to say 500. I used to do promos when I was in
Oh,
university.
okay.
But also like within the arts, I've received 800. I was an extra. Yeah.
So was it like monthly payment or it was like for an
that
hour or for
yeah,
that week
for
or
that hour, that call time that I was
okay.
invited for.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's
It
not
wasn't
really
really
bad.
the worst. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think let's keep it at that the 800 because yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, that must have been
When
the
you
lowest.
got like a first like real job where it's like you get paid 25 or 30th or whatever, what was your salary? Were you happy with it?
Okay, I'll say my beginning of my career, I did earn around 1.8.
Monthly.
Yeah, that was just for transport, doing field work. It was almost kind of like an internship type of
Okay, I
situation.
see.
I didn't completely hate it because I was like, oh, I'm just stepping my foot in. But like right now, I do understand it must have been really low, especially
Yes.
if you don't have that kind of support.
Sure.
Like you don't have a place to stay, you have to finance all your traveling and all that other stuff. But otherwise, I didn't hate it. It gave me the experience that I needed. Because sometimes,
Okay.
you know, with these decisions, it's like, even though I'm not going to get paid as much money, but I'm going to gain the experience,
Yeah,
which can
something
help
along
me.
the way it's going to
Yeah,
help you.
yeah.
Okay, what is that one thing that you're so good at but you hide, like your secret talent?
Oh my God, secret talents. I almost want to believe that I've shared all my talents. They're out there, secret. Could being a great mom a secret talent, but also my kids might say I'm not really that great. So
Okay, maybe something you may have shared, but like you don't share a lot, but you're really good at.
uh, Presenting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I haven't fully tapped into that.
But you
Yeah.
really think you're good.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. But I feel like you have the face for it as well.
Oh,
So,
thanks.
okay. If you were a drink, what type of drink would you be and why?
Water.
It's giving
I know
pleasure
you're
reason.
Boring.
Okay, why water?
But water, personally, I love water. I don't really drink much. I started really enjoying water probably from an early age. I stopped drinking fizzy drinks. Now I do have them occasionally, and alcohol, not really my thing. So like water, it's great.
Water.
Like, have you ever felt thirsty? And like water is a thing that will quench your thirst. Yeah, and I love it cold with ice.
Okay.
So yeah, water.
All right, that's really
Keep
nice.
healthy.
What was the last book you read?
I'm actually currently still reading it. It's Daring Greatly.
Okay, is it by Brene Brown?
Yes.
Oh, I love her.
I love it.
like,
I'm
yeah.
relating to so many points. Like probably the whole book is highlighted now. But yeah.
Okay. Oh, are you also a highlighter when you
Yeah.
read, take notes, and you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm also the type of person. What drove you to pick that book up?
I think I just want to be a better person.
Okay.
Also, just learning how to be authentic. I think the whole idea of authenticity, it's cute when everybody says, "Oh, be authentic," da, da, da. And I'm
Yes.
like, but where do you draw the line? Like, where do I say, like, these are my boundaries? Like,
Yes.
and also with people, when you're sharing, when you don't share certain things, are you gonna say I'm not authentic enough?
Yes.
So, like for me, I think I wanted to get that book and read it just so I can sort of get an idea of what this whole idea of authenticity is about.
Okay.
Am I being authentic enough? Am I still being true to self, even when I'm being authentic?
Sure.
You know, I don't share too much with the world, and I end up feeling like, oh my god. Yeah.
I love that. And I think the other thing, just before we go into like our chat, right,
Yeah.
about being authentic, my question is always surrounding where do I draw the line in terms of trying to improve myself, right? There's this thing that this is who I am, but when do you get to say this is who I am, but I need to change this? Does then that twist you not being authentic?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have this funny habits, they are who you are, it's being authentic.
Yeah.
But then when you get to certain spaces, it's like, no, but you can't act like that. Then if you need to change them, then do you become less authentic? Like,
You know,
I
yeah,
think it's a very
it's a
interesting
yeah,
subject,
like,
and it's tricky. Hey?
It is. It's very tricky.
Okay, so what influenced your choice of studying, you going into teaching? Was it something that you've always wanted, or it's a thing of you just did it because it was what was available? What was the driving force?
Okay, so I'm gonna take you back a little bit. When I was in high school, right? I did the accounting stream. I was studying commercials,
Sure.
EMS, business studies, accounting. And then when it came time for us to start applying for university, I thought to myself, you know what? I want to go into the entertainment industry.
Okay.
I'll work in there for like 10 years, like from 20 to 30. I'll be presenting, shooting commercials and doing all of that. And then from 30, during that time, I'll be improving myself, making sure I'm getting my master's, my PhD, and then I'm going to go into lecturing.
Sure.
So being in the teaching space has always been part of the plan.
Oh, okay.
However, I think it just
At a
happened
later
way sooner.
stage.
Yeah, it
Okay.
happened way sooner. Because I always thought like, when you've had gained enough industry experience, no matter what career you're in, it's always great to go back and teach and lecture. You know, so that was my thinking around it. Hence, when I joined WITS, I actually did a BA in dramatic arts.
Oh,
so that
okay,
was
that
my
was
first
your
qualification.
undergrad,
Yes, that was
first
my
qualification.
undergrad.
Okay.
And then I did the postgrad in education.
Okay.
So when I was doing this, I was already working at the Market Theatre. And so when I was doing this, I was preparing
Can
for...
I slightly interject now before we go into your teaching career? Though it's
Yeah.
the main thing today, I just want to understand what was the driving force with your BA drama and all of that. Like, is it something that you always wanted to pursue?
I wanted to pursue it, but also I thought it would be a great way to build up my confidence. I thought
Okay.
like I thought I was
Nice.
very sort of like drawn back, very shy, and yeah, so I thought it would be a great way for me to learn how to put myself out there, and I think it did a good job. Like
Okay.
I'm no longer as shy as I was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, and
You
I
don't
enjoyed
even
that.
look like a shy person.
Really?
You seem
But
very
honestly, I'm like,
comfortable.
I'm not sure if I should be speaking. I used to be that person, like,
Okay.
oh, should I really share my voice? You know? But yeah, over time, I've learned to be like, oh, this is who I am. I can
Okay.
actually, use my voice. Yeah.
Okay, now that you do BA dramatic arts, right? Then what then forces you or makes you decide to actually go into your postgrad in teaching? Because I mean, you could have just said, okay, I have my BA in dramatic arts. Let me just
go.
media focus there. What made you want to upgrade into teaching?
Okay, so for me, like as I've already pointed out, I believe in advancing
Sure.
yourself, investing in yourself. So at the time, after I completed my BA, I worked at different arts institutions and also with the entertainment industry, whether you're working behind the scenes or on camera, it has a lot of ups and downs. And one
Sure.
position I never wanted to find myself is, oh my God, I'm so stressed out.
Yes,
What
you're
am I going to do?
stranded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? No hate to artists or anything like that. Like, I don't find stories about I'm a struggling artist. I'm in my car to be cute.
They're not really cute. They're not. Sure.
So I'm like, if you can actually build a separate career or do something that can assist you in continuing to live your life, then great, go ahead and do it. So with my postgrad in education, when I was doing it, I was preparing for later when
Okay.
I'm done
Or
with
you
this
just
or
wanted
when
to
I'm
have it
tired.
done.
I wanted to have it done. I'm going to use it at some point.
Yeah,
But I'm
sure.
going to have it done anyway. So when the pandemic happened, then I was like, working at the market theater at the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do next? And then I was like, actually, I have a PGCE. Why
Okay.
don't I use it?
Yes.
I started applying for jobs, and I got it. So
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So then I was like,
was it like,
let me.
how long did it take you to apply? Like, was it too long? Was it easy? Did you find the process
Oh, that's
easy?
very subjective. Too long, not too long.
But how
I
long
wouldn't
was
say-
it? Maybe
for me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was that long. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was that long. From the time when I started, especially considering how hectic looking for a job can get. You
Yes,
can go
okay.
for a whole year looking for a
Okay.
job.
Oh, so
wasn't
it was
that
under a
long.
year.
Yeah, it was under a year.
Okay,
So
alright.
I don't really have a stress around that. And also I was freelancing. That's the time when I got to shoot the advert with Mr. D with
Okay.
Samsung. So it wasn't like I was in a position of, oh my God, I don't have any sort of income.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also, before we move forward, relating to your commercials and you getting a job at the theater, was that easy, or how did you apply? Were they portals you were using to apply?
Okay, so with the commercials, I got an agent.
Okay.
Yeah, you get an agent, you do the headshots and everything. They send out your stuff, you get selected, you do the auditions and all that other stuff.
Okay.
And then with my work, I actually had to apply. Did a CV, applied,
Okay.
sat in front of a panel, did the interview.
Okay.
And then I got the job. Yeah, but also I think I'm one of those people. Sorry to toot my own horn, but like I am proactive. Like
Oh,
I will send
yeah.
out my CV. Sometimes they're not even advertising,
But you'll
I
send
will
it
send my
out.
CV and
I'm
be like,
also
hey,
that girl.
if you are looking for a person, I'm available. Yeah.
Sure.
So sometimes people do get back to you after 2 months, 3 months. They'll come back and say, hey, we got your CV. Da 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 da. Are you still interested? So yeah.
Okay. All right. No, that's great. And then, what was your first time experience in Joburg like? Because you said you moved from Limpopo, coming to Joburg. Was it fast? How did you feel about being in Joburg?
I think I spent the majority of my university years still a bit closed off. Never went out to a club. Like till today, I've never been to a club.
Oh my God. That is so nice.
So I would
No, it is nice because okay, well, because I'm a Jesus girl, so I think it
Really?
shows like that you are. You know what? I'll tell you off camera because I don't want to seem like ngikhuluma abantu kabi, ne?
Okay, yeah.
But I really think it's a good thing. There's
Really?
nothing there. There's nothing in the
Hey, for real,
nightlife. I
like, I
promise
feel like
you.
I've missed out. In fact, I've met people who'd say things to me like, oh, but how could you do this? You've never been to a party. You don't do this. You don't drink, But anyway, that's a conversation
I
for
feel
another
like,
day.
believe me, there's
Yeah.
nothing there. Like I've been to clubs 1 or 2. I'm not a night person, but I feel like there's nothing there. Trust
Really?
me. Ask anyone who has done it and left it.
Sometimes I wonder that maybe I'll get to 40 years old, and especially because I also got married young, I'm like, I'll get to 40 and I'll be like, yo, brah, I need to go to the clubs.
No. Okay.
But going back to your question, coming to Joburg, I think for me there was a sense of disappointment, just in a sense that everybody hypes it up as this fast pace, and I was just like, it's not really. Like, people do have to do stuff to make it seem like it's not really as fast paced as I
So
haven't
basically, you
experienced
make
that.
a personal
Nobody
choice.
forced drugs on me or like forced me to drink or I did not really experience it as that. It just became it's a bigger city. There's probably more opportunities, but yeah.
Okay. You know what I think about you, what I'm perceiving right now is that
Yeah.
you're probably like one of the most disciplined people. So
Yeah.
you came knowing your why. Because I do understand why like certain people would say Joburg is very fast and all of because it's easy for you to get influenced in the wrong crowd, especially in uni.
Yeah.
There are people that like sway you off if you don't know why you are there. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe you like were on your lane there to do what you had to do. You were not in people's businesses or
no.
trying to be in places you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah. And also, you know what? I actually had a fear. I had a fear of my mom being called and being told your child was involved in an accident in
And your mom
someone's
didn't
car
know about
driving
it.
to a club or something. And I'm like, I never want to really disappoint her like that,
Okay. No.
I love her so much.
I hear you. Okay, and then now let's go into the real stuff. What are the requirements of a person that wants to be a teacher? Yeah, maybe take us through what subjects are they supposed to take in matric, and then how well should they do, and the universities they could possibly apply at.
Okay. So like I had previously highlighted, since I started with a BA in dramatic arts, I had to meet the requirements for that. Once you've met that, and because I got into teaching through a PGCE, the requirements are slightly different.
Okay.
Because when you do a BEd, then you'll have to meet a certain APS. I think it's around 36,
Okay.
around there for VITs. And then when you do PGCE, you literally just have to be a graduate from your
okay.
undergrad.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
So
then you-
whether you have a BA in drama or psychology, as long as you've graduated with your undergrad and you've
Okay.
got some modules that can be factored in as teaching subjects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay,
So-
so it's not that complex.
It's not as complex as with the
The
BEd,
first
I would say.
time. Okay.
Because with the BEd, then you have to really look at your APS. If you don't meet the APS, then you might have to now maybe start with
Upgrade.
upgrade
Okay.
and whatnot.
All right. And then speaking on the postgrad and the actually BEd, right? What would you recommend? Would you recommend a person going in straight from matric to actually starting teaching, or would you say if they want to explore other degrees, they can actually do that?
Personal preference. I think it
Okay.
depends on a person. If you're one person who knows certain that, you know what, I want to be a teacher, this is all I want to do for the rest of my life. Because also you need to remember some of these careers can really box you in.
Okay,
So if
sure.
you do a BEd, how are you going to now go and work in marketing?
Sure.
Do you understand
I
what I'm
hear
saying?
you. I hear
So
you.
sometimes like for me, I would say I am happy with
Mm-hmm.
my choice of doing the BA dramatic arts because it opened me to that whole
Yes.
industry, and now I know how certain things work,
work,
there.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I did the PGCE, which was another stream into education, and also it gives you the option of, you already have sort of two career options. Either you go in
Yes,
full time
yes.
teaching, or you can explore other things
Okay.
in the arts.
No, that's
industry.
really
Yeah.
good. What else can a person do with a teaching degree? Or do you just
You can
teach?
You can become an instructional designer.
Really?
Yes, you
With
can-
just your teaching degree?
Well, you have to upgrade. You
Oh,
can get like advanced
courses,
Yeah,
okay.
but also these days you can self-teach yourself those things,
Okay.
and if you can write it in your CV that I'm good at this,
Mm-hmm.
you can still get an opportunity in that area because also much of instructional design draws from teaching in any
Okay.
way because the modules that you do is about learning how to do your lesson plans
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So you can go into that, you can advance one day become a principal, you can
Okay.
go into lecturing, you can lecture within education itself, other portfolios within education. So there are opportunities there. However, you need to build up to
Oh,
it.
yes, you need to add
It's not
on.
like you'll get
Just
out
be-
of your BEd, you're already a principal, and then
You know, it's so funny now that you mentioned the whole principal thing. My
Yeah.
assumption was, in order for you to be principal, you just get promoted.
you do get promoted.
Okay.
But also that promotion, remember, draws from experience.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
you can't
yes,
just
I
get
get-
promoted
okay,
if we
okay,
don't know
okay.
how you are in class. How are you gonna tell the teachers that don't do it this way?
Yes,
if
if you don't
really
have background.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Okay, you and I have actually covered some of these questions that I have. Okay. And then now that you've passed your degree, right? Your teaching degree, whether it's straight out of matric or it's a postgrad, right? What then does it take for you to be qualified as a teacher? Because I know for us to be seen as attorneys or advocates, we have to go through board exams and certain procedures must take place. Is it the same with teaching, or right after you graduate, you just
Yeah.
go teach?
Yeah, and I think actually it's great that you're asking me that question, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions around the education and the teaching
Yes,
qualification,
sure thing.
especially with also these opportunities with teaching in China, where you're like,
Yes.
just get a degree, go and teach
And
English.
sure.
It doesn't work like that. So, unfortunately, because also our government doesn't follow up on these things, there are teachers who are currently in the classroom teaching, but they're actually not registered with the South African Council for Educators.
Okay, that's
so,
SACE.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
SACE. So when you're done with your qualification, or even during your qualification, you can register with SACE, and you'll get a provisional entrance, which allows for you to maybe apply for posts as an assistant teacher and things like that. And then when you're done with your qualification, you actually have to get your SACE certificate.
Okay.
Which means you are a registered teacher, you know the policies, you know how you're supposed to conduct yourself in the classroom,
Sure.
what goes against teaching, how we treat the learners, which are children at the end of the day, and we're responsible for their development. So how are you entering the classroom? Are you allowed to just take whatever and discipline a child with it? You know, things like that.
Okay.
So you have to register with SACE.
Okay.
And then from there, once you've got your certificate, you've got your number, you can go ahead and start applying for jobs.
for jobs.
And majority of the jobs, especially within the private sector, because I teach at a private school, they will ask for that your SACE number.
okay.
Yes.
All right.
So rarely have I met people within my space who are actually not qualified or registered with SACE. But I do know that if they do find you,
I know a person, and
You might end up in
after
hot
this episode,
water.
I'm going to tell them
Tell
when I
them
go
to
get your
go.
SACE.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, yeah.
And then another thing that some people might not know is that when you come from, especially the creative industries like your drama, if you do get an opportunity, let's say come teach drama at the school,
Yes.
you get an opportunity, you still have to register with SACE. Even if you don't have
okay.
a PGCE, they'll give you a provisional registration.
nice.
Say, you know what, you need to go and complete your PGCE. But in the meantime, we're not going to take your bag away.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can continue doing your job, but you have to complete your PGCE.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you require to have for your SACE?
It's either you have a BAd or a PGCE. You've been teaching. Some people have, I don't want to speak too much on higher education and your, higher certificate, or your diplomas, because I'm really not well versed in
Familiar,
that. Yeah.
sure.
So I know that when you've got a diploma in certain things, you can still go on ahead and apply for a SACE. Yeah.
So when you apply, do you guys apply online? Do you physically go to their offices? How does it work? What do you need to submit?
You can do both.
Okay.
With me, initially, I applied online
Yeah.
for my provisional. This was before I even qualified. I did it online. It was a very quick process. I uploaded, I think it was my ID, made a payment. I think the payment was around 200 Rand.
Okay.
What else? And then I had to show evidence that I am completing my PGCE at the
Okay.
moment. So my transcripts from VETS. And then a proof of residence, I think. And criminal record. What is it
Yes.
called?
Background check
Yeah,
certificate.
yes, that. And I uploaded it online. And I think within 2 weeks, they reverted back and they sent me the provisional SACE letter that allowed for me to go on and apply for work.
Okay.
Yeah, and
That
I was
seems
able to
really
secure
quick.
work with that provisional, actually.
Okay.
And then from there, after completing, I went in person
Oh,
to
okay.
get my
To
certificate.
collect your certificate.
Yeah.
So the certificate, you don't have to carry it around there. You just carry your number, like your ID number.
Yeah, as long as you know the number.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to carry it. It's
The
for
next thing you
carrying
need
it
to
around.
lament it and
Now I'm thinking, don't pass. Okay. No, yeah.
yeah.
And then another thing is, once you're registered with SACE, you have to pay yearly for
Okay.
being part of
Oh,
this body.
it's like an admission fee, nyana, so, okay.
So I think sometimes, actually, I recently went to SACE to go change my surname there. And I met this lady who was arguing with the people there because they were telling her that you owe us 2,000 Rand. She's like, what? It's like, yeah, for all the years that you've been qualified.
okay.
And you haven't. So I think teachers, please just be aware of
Yes,
that.
yeah, pay. Make sure you pay yearly.
Yeah,
You
on a
don't
yearly
want to
basis.
find yourself.
Yeah, so that you
owing.
don't end up with this huge.
Okay. Something I think I'd omitted asking, how long does it take to study teaching?
With a B.Ed, it's 4 years.
Okay.
At majority of these state-owned universities. Some of the private institutions, it might be 3 years.
Okay.
And then with a PGCE, it's 1 year if you're doing it full-time, 2 years if it's part-time.
Oh, it's quick, most. Nami,
Yeah.
I can.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Okay. So I asked you this already. Oh. So what subjects are you teaching right now?
English and
English.
creative arts.
And creative arts.
Yeah.
So how does one select the subjects that they want to teach? Do you necessarily have to teach in what you majored in, or you can always swap around and move around within?
Ooh, it's wow. That is, yeah. Let me just say, when you actually apply for your PGCE, when you apply, they will look at your transcript.
Okay.
Right? And then by looking at the transcript, they'll determine, okay, if you're going into teaching, these are some of the subjects that you can teach based on your undergrad.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, you say you're an attorney. So, because you guys deal with, I think, writing a lot of stuff and reading, I think. I don't know what attorneys do.
Represent people.
A lot of reading and whatever.
Contract reviewing.
Yeah, things like right? So, then they will look at, okay, your modules, you've done this, you've done that. Maybe you'd be suited for teaching English or whatever. If you've done psychology, because you're good with working with people's feelings or whatnot, you could do life orientation. So it's not like I'll move from completing a B in dramatic arts and get there and be like, I want to teach mathematics.
Okay.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Okay. So they need to check your transcript to see what aligns most.
What aligns most.
Okay.
And then from there, those will be your teaching subjects that you'll do when you're completing your PGCE.
Okay.
However, when you're applying for work, that's where now things might
change.
Yeah, because for instance, I did creative arts, and then now when I get into the teaching space, you sometimes have to teach more than one subject.
Yes.
Sometimes more than two, and you might find that you're not necessarily well versed in the other, right? So depending on the school, you might get selected to teach
something
just
that
your
you
subject.
didn't major in.
Sometimes you'll have that sub-subject which does not align with what you majored in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So when you guys teach like maybe 3 subjects, do you get a salary for each?
It don't work like that.
It's one size fits all.
It's one size fit all.
Okay.
And I think if I had to highlight one of the disadvantages I think about teaching is that, and also how getting more certification does not necessarily mean you'll become the principal. So you can have a PhD and be stuck there as an educator.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So you really have to be, I think also it probably also has to do with how these days things are so different. Just because you have an advanced degree does not mean you're entitled or you
to have a position that is higher.
You have to know this person. You need to sort of, have diverse skills as well, and have proved that you can handle certain things, you know.
Okay. So how many schools have you taught at?
I've only taught at one school.
Okay.
However, I've been a trainer before with Wits Drama for Life in Joburg Theatre. So I've worked with students before. It's always sort of been
but school setup, it's just been one
school. Yeah.
And are you enjoying it so far?
Look, I've had a positive experience.
Okay.
I don't hate it. Like with any profession, there are pros and cons, but for the most part, I think 80% of the time I'm happy.
You're happy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I really love it. So you would encourage somebody to go for teaching?
I would. I would. I get the question, am I going to make enough money?
Yes. Please tell us. Are we going to make enough money?
Look, I don't know where... you're not going to be a millionaire. Let's just start with
maybe
that.
give us maybe an average of how much teachers possibly make in a good school.
In a good school.
And guys, disclaimer, this is not every school. Like, this is just your average in a good school.
Yeah. Your annual can go from 250K all the way up to like 370.
Okay, that's decent.
I think like when you're starting your career, it's really not... It's just that these days everyone wants to go in and 50K, you know.
I get it. They're selling a social media lifestyle, and you have to wake up 9 to 5.
Will kill you. I think that's that. Like for me, I don't think it's terrible. Also because I'm able to meet my needs and some of my wants, and also I do other things on the side.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so how's your time frame? Because I know, like, if you're an attorney, it's hard for
To
you
think
to
you're gonna
do
do things
other
on the
side
side.
jobs. It's important. Like it's just already it doesn't sound ethical when you start saying I'm an attorney, but I do ABCD. It's like
Really, you don't have a side hustle.
Well, okay, I'm in house right now,
Mm.
right? So I do other stuff because I'm much more flexible, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not a practicing attorney. I'm a non-practicing attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in house. I'm a legal counsel. So I do have time to myself, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at an attorney that is actually practicing, they don't have time or
no
capacity.
time, yeah.
They like out of their house at 6 a.m. in the morning. They back at 10 in the evening or even later than that,
Yeah.
you see. So sometimes it becomes really hard for you to have like side hustles and stuff. So
Yeah.
with your guys' time frames, you guys are able to do other things. Like what time?
Not necessarily.
Like how
Yeah.
does your day start? Like what time does it start? Like as a teacher, what time does it start and what time does it end?
Let me tell you, I went in with this. Probably this was one of my misconceptions. I thought I'm gonna have time. Like, okay, I'll go in, I'll teach probably from 7, and then by 2 o'clock the kids go home, right? And then I'm done.
Yes,
I have
that's
the rest
what
of the
I'm thinking. I'm
I
like,
have the rest
once
of the
kids have
afternoon.
gone,
Yeah,
go home.
I have the rest of the afternoon to myself because also before I started, I was running like an events company and like I enjoyed it.
Hey, you're hustling.
I got hustler, yo,
We are
so fine. And then now where I'm working, you have to be in by 7:30 and you knock off at 4. That doesn't mean that the kids leave school at 4.
Okay.
The kids around 2, 2:30 there, they're done. Then the rest of the day you have to dedicate your time to, you know, marking scripts, putting up tests, you know, setting up, preparing yourself for tomorrow and all that other stuff. So pretty much your whole day is taken.
Okay.
By the time you knock off at 4, what can you still do, right? But I push myself to try and do the other stuff that I can do, borrow my brains here and there. Yeah, but
but you knock off at 4.
knock off at 4.
That's not. But is your school far from home?
No.
No, okay, that's not bad. And then I just want to know, relating to teaching, right, like subjects. So do you have like a class of your own? Because now, if you're expected to be like at school at 7:30, and maybe your lesson is at 12 p.m., what are you doing the other time? Or do you have like, are you a class teacher?
Yes, I am a class teacher. I have a class that's dedicated to me.
you,
I get
okay.
to decorate it how I want. Although there are teachers who teach the sub-subjects
What
that I'm
grade
talking
do you
about.
teach, by the way?
I teach grade 6.
Okay.
There are teachers who come in to teach the sub-subjects, and then I just step out of the class and borrow them my class in a sense. I don't know if that makes sense. They'll go into the classroom, teach for about 30 minutes, and then they're out. But yeah.
Okay, so the other time you're just chilling by
That's
the
my
staff
class,
room or you're marking scripts or
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's great. And then personally I'm very passionate about reading and writing, right? And I feel like there is a problem in South Africa where a lot of people can't read properly. They can't articulate themselves properly. To people at home, what do you think they can do to provide themselves with tools that will help them read better, articulate themselves better? Because whether or not, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, I saw something on TikTok. Somebody was like, you guys shouldn't lie to each other. You know, when you want to enter corporate, you must articulate yourself a certain way. Do you think that's a thing?
Yeah. Yes. But haven't you like noticed, like sometimes you ever go, that person speaks very well, and I think that has really helped them get to the top. It's not the only thing, but it does help to know how to speak for yourself, how to articulate yourself, as you say. With the stats that you're saying, actually in South Africa, kids around grade 3, grade 4, they struggle to read for understanding. So they can read it, but they don't understand what it means.
Yes, they can't comprehend.
And for me, I want to attribute it a lot to do with parent engagement.
Okay.
As parents today, we are not engaged in our children's learning anymore. When I was growing up, I remember I was coming from a village when I started living with my mother, and I didn't know how to speak English, never mind reading. Okay. So whenever my mom would get called in and get told, hey, your child is struggling to read, your child is struggling to read, eventually she had to take it upon herself to be like, hey, you need to learn how to read.
Sure.
Right? So every day she'd come back from work, she'd say, you read 2 pages. When you come back from school, you read the 2 pages by yourself. When I come back from work, you read for me. And then
Yes.
I'll correct you where you're wrong until you finish the entire book.
Sure.
That's how I learned how to read. So these days, parents literally give the teachers all the work. Like, I'm bringing my child to the school, make sure they come back home knowing how to read, knowing how to do everything. And in as much as teachers, we try our best, remember, I'm dedicating my time to 20, 25 students in the class.
Sure.
It's not just exclusively your child. So I think parent engagement is necessary there, but also as teachers, I know that we can do better as well.
Okay.
Because if you look at the difference between how we do it in private schools and how it's done in government school, there's a huge difference.
Yes, because also I was about to speak about the gap, ne, because I have noticed that there is a gap, ne, and not to even undermine anyone or anything.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do feel like certain schools, you can tell from how the teacher is communicating with parents, "Hori, man, there's something off." Then you start wondering that when they're teaching children, are they teaching correctly? Because obviously, if you can't communicate well with me, there might also be a breakdown with the communication that you have with children in
children,
the
yeah.
class, right? And then it brings me to wanting to know if there is a gap, and you let me know according to your experience, right? How is the gap between moving from graduating with your teaching degree into the workplace? Is there enough training during teaching? You know, do you feel like teachers are equipped by the time they actually start working? Because from the reading and writing, personally, I think something needs to be done. I think maybe practicals must start as early as possible, and they must be often.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes by the time people go into teaching, they don't have enough knowledge, or they don't even know how to carry themselves or communicate with children or teach appropriately.
Yeah. You know what? I think the schools do try. Well, with my school, I'll speak for my school, even though I'm not going to mention. We get professional training like
Oh,
every
nice.
single week.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be focused on certain things. Maybe one time it'll be how to communicate with parents, how to plan better for your lessons, how to differentiate your lessons for different learning abilities, because not everyone is a top scholar, you know. We get those trainings, but I do know for a fact that there's a gap that with other schools, especially, and I'll always sort of like talk about government because majority of our kids do come from the government schools, where you find that maybe that's not being done frequently. And then also just management within the school.
Okay.
With us, we have assistant principals and then we have principals. So within the government sector, it would be your deputies, the principals, and also, you know, government at large. How are they involved in the runnings of the school? With us, are the principals coming in checking, are you actually on task? We get checked all the time. You're on your toes when you're in the classroom. When they come in to observe, they better not find you on your cell phone, chatting, checking your Instagram.
So you're fully supervised.
Yeah. So I think those things keep us on our toes and they keep us doing what we're supposed to be doing at work. But if you don't have those measures, sometimes people can, you know, find themselves doing other things, not necessarily paying as much attention to the kids.
Okay.
So, yeah, professional development is necessary.
Okay.
But also, I think leadership and management within that school matters. How are you managing your teachers? Because in as much as you can come in as a young graduate, motivated, I'm going to be a great teacher. You'll do it the first term, and then maybe you're being met with kids who are challenging, who speak back, and all that. And then you're like, it starts to demotivate you slowly but surely. And then before you know it, it's affecting your work.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Oh, that was a great one. Thank you so much for all the insights. It's been beautiful having a conversation with you. I hope people at home actually learned something, and I do highly encourage that schools, people that own schools and etc. have in place development training so that we have good teachers, because good teachers means good students, and good students means basically good individuals, you know. So thank you so much for coming here. And if you were to title this season of your life, what would you title it? And in wrapping up, please do give a word of encouragement to people at home.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
This season of my life is putting yourself out there.
Love it.
Yeah. So don't think you're underqualified. Yeah, I think that's that. And then with encouragement, I would say to anyone that's watching, you can do it. And also don't be rigid. Don't look at life as this is the only way I can do things.
Okay.
Look at other avenues. Try different things. Start at the very bottom, even with your qualification. Okay. You speak about what's career or qualification ego. What do you call it?
Yes, career ego.
Please, career
The
ego.
idea that your qualifications is more important than any other job.
Honey, don't do that.
Okay.
Put it to the side. I always go back to the idea that not every job will give you the great perks, the great experience, and all that. Sometimes you're either going to choose the salary over the experience, or you're going to have to choose the experience over the salary. So be very mindful, put yourself out there, and make the best decision for you.
Okay, I love that. Thank you so much to everybody at home. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And happy Employment Wednesdays. Always remember you are not alone. You are gracefully anchored. All the best. Thank you.